course, Mike King, I think, is the biggest arm coming back from us for injury, from injuries at this point, because he can really, really fling that thing. And you can use him in so many different ways. Just versatile weapon, can give you 2 to 3 innings easily.
Yeah, I think that's where we start is at the high end of our bullpen, right? If we're going to take you through what this roster looks like so far.
Yes.
And Mike King is at the top of that. Mike King was among the relief pitching war leaders last year. He was out for the season from June on. He would have been by far the top war getter in the relief pitching department. He was definitely the top through the trade deadline, at least. Um, Michael King was really nasty. I don't see him becoming a long man or becoming a starting pitching option. I think the Yankees have found a lane where he is really productive. Honestly, he'll
Mhm.
probably be more productive than like Clark Schmidt or even Domingo Herman, if you're looking at statistical contribution and what his like two, he can really give you like a one shutout to like a 2 2/3 kind of inning outing. He can go a few times a week. We should be careful with his injury, but he's really where this bullpen starts. Um, and looking at how many positions we have, there's really about 8 spots. I wouldn't say there's a definitive closer. We saw that after last year. And we're going through right now with the assumption of both Clark Schmidt and Domingo Herman both being in the starting 5 pitching rotation. So we're looking at 5 pitchers. Both of those guys are kind of long relief and starting pitching options. So once Rodon gets back to the roster and Montas later down the line, if he gets back to the team. So we're looking at 8 spots. I think Michael King starts with that number 1 spot. Fangraphs projections for Michael King next year, I think, are pretty conservative, but they have him at a 3.58 ERA, 67 innings pitched, 84 strikeouts, which would be amongst the relief pitching leaders in all of baseball. And I don't
Yeah.
think they're too far off. What do you think there?
I think the ERA is going to be lower than that. Like you said, they are very conservative with that aspect. I think all across the board for all the Yankee relievers is like somewhere below 4, but still not below 3. It's somewhere between 3 and 4, just consistently across the board. I think they're going to have a few guys that are sub 3, and Mike King, just because he does go multi innings, he could be subject to a higher ERA. Let's say he gives up, 1 or 2 home runs like every now and then in the third inning of, pitching a 3 inning outing. That could lead to some bad luck with the inflation of the ERA, but I'm not going to pay attention to that stat in general for him. I think the strikeouts are on point, but I also think he's one of those guys that can provide a lot of ground balls and soft contact as well. So I honestly am not concerned at all. It sounds like this elbow thing is completely resolved. He didn't have, somehow, by the grace of God, he didn't injure his UCL at all with that elbow fracture. So this does seem like a clean break. He's good to go. I don't see him slowing down anytime soon. He's only going to get better too, the more and more he trains on certain pitches. So um, he's got a full weapon, fully stocked arsenal that's ready to rock. And I think we should all be very excited about him in general.
I agree, and we're going to be leaning on him a lot. Even if it comes to closing games, tied game scenarios going into the 9th inning, I could see us jumping to King to give us the 9th and then maybe a 10th, 11th as well.